Here we are, our first live event. Super happy to be doing it, especially today because we're at the hottest day of the year right now in the UK. Early on, but we've got a little bit of a mini heat wave, so I get to sit in the garden and do this, which is awesome, and I'm excited about it. So I don't know who's turned up yet. Come up on the screen, I guess. But we'll just get straight into it because this video is going to get posted up on our YouTube channel. It's going to get posted up on all of our social media accounts, including Facebook, later on today, so everyone can re-watch it and maybe get some extra tips and things that they missed. I kind of gave a similar talk to this, I don't know, about a year ago now, to a pretty big group, pretty good crowd actually as well, and it's really just to give an overview on social media. In the insurance industry, I think it's something that people are missing out, missing tremendous upside on, and can make a huge difference to their business with some changes. So I want to start out and just say what is social media. I think that there's a lot of looking at it like it's this grey thing in the corner in the insurance market, particularly when you start speaking about some of the older guys that are in it, whether they're older underwriters or whether they're older brokers, and maybe the people running the business, if you're working in a small, medium-sized broker, who probably don't see the value in it, which is fine, but it's our job as consultants, it's your job as people who want to use social media, or people who want to even just find a way to do new business, even if you are one of those older guys, is to understand really what it is. And what it is communication. And I'm going to use a non-insurance analogy to try and show how that evolution works. And that non-insurance analogy is that take libraries, for example. The ability to self-teach, self-learn has always been there. It's been there for a long, long time. You've been able to go to the library and do whatever you wanted, learn what you needed to learn. I remember going to do some homework there when I was a kid. Only the once, it didn't happen very often. So it's there, but no one used it. No one used it because they didn't want to go to the library. Now everyone's walking around with a computer in their pocket that they're pretty much addicted to. So everyone, the usage is gone. So nothing else has changed, and that's kind of the same way you can look at social media. Communication still exists. Just the mediums and the way it's done is totally different now to what it used to be. So I guess that's probably the most important part. The biggest overview. Your customers, regardless of what you're doing, are on social media one way or another. The example, there's a piece of content coming out next week that I'm going to do about this, but imagine if you're a really, really specialist insurance broker and you specialise in soft play centres. Soft play centres are on Facebook. They're going to be on Facebook. I've got another business interest which targets tattooists. Tattooists are on Instagram because they're creating art. So where they're going to put art, they're going to put on Instagram. They're all on there. Professionals, you're all on LinkedIn, Facebook, everyone's got one. They're all there. It doesn't mean that you can just go and hit them and hammer them, just the same way that cold calling is rude and knocking on people's doors is rude. It's the way you go about doing it. So it's communication first and foremost. On top of that, the opportunity that it gives you is enormous because everyone is now, one or two people apart. Everyone in the world, more or less, is one or two people apart. You can kind of reach anyone through social media with good content, and there's millions of stories about that. You just go and look at the businesses who've done phenomenal things from a standing start with social media and reached people. The difficulty that insurance has is that it's not particularly sexy and people don't want to buy it. It's an outbound industry, which I'm going to come back to. And that's kind of the issue at hand, is that insurance has got to be bought. People are going to use a broker. They're probably going to use one that they like, and there's all those relationship related things. There's a lot of insurance brokers around now, so it's not like they're limited for choice. Everyone looks the same. Watch that piece of content that I posted recently. Everyone's websites are similar. Everyone's marketing materials, letters, white papers, brochures, flyers, all that stuff, sales pitches, everyone sounds the same. So social media gives you the opportunity to have your voice, be you, authentically you, and gain your friends, followers, contacts business development from there. And that happens in two ways. You can post content, and I think posting content is very important as long as you've got it right and you're happy with it and you think you're getting the right message across. There's all the regulation stuff that goes with it in the insurance industry, so think that through very carefully with your compliance guys and your MD or whatever before you start making content that might not be compliant, do the right things. But pushing content out is important, posting regularly, because you get attention from posting regularly, and that's what you need to sell something to someone. But the most underutilized tool I can think of with social media is engagement, and that is you engaging with the people you want to work with. So I tell this story all the time. I'm going to tell it again, really drive it home. I opened a charity in 2012 when I was 22. We don't raise any money, we only raise time, so we haven't got a load of money to throw around on, marketing and those kind of things. Now I'm going to let you in a small secret here before I tell the story that I tell everyone. I wrote direct mail to all of the top 20 businesses that I could find here locally, asking them if they'll support us. And I got no responses. Not one. I failed miserably. It didn't work. So it was back to the drawing board. We had to do it, and we did it slowly. We got some referrals from friends. And everything was moving, but it was moving slow until 2013 when we started Twitter, or 2014, whichever one it was. And the strategy was, there was two of us going to run the account, but it ended up really just being me. My pal was so busy that it just ended up being me, and that's no bad reflection on him. I followed every business in the area that, because I knew everyone was on Twitter. That was the key. I knew it, and you've got to know what your customers are. I followed all the businesses we wanted to do business with, to support us, and I engaged with them every time they posted. Every single time they posted something up, I engaged with it. Didn't post any of my own content, any of our own content. We weren't talking about the meetings we were having, the things we were doing today, what we had for lunch. We didn't do that typical Twitter thing. We didn't make kind of big comments on things. We didn't pick a side of anything. We just engaged with people, and that increased our visibility, and it increased our credibility. And they're two of the main ingredients. Visibility, capability, and credibility are the things that you need. So we did that, and it worked, and we grew, and we grew, and we grew, and we grew, and now people talk about us, and now schools get in touch with me, and we've become an inbound industry rather than an outbound industry. So I really think that is massively underutilized when it comes to, I see you, Ema, how's it going, man? It's massively underutilized as far as business development goes, but you've got to be authentic and actually building relationships. It's not about spamming everybody, commenting on everything and trying to get them to buy your thing or do your thing, or in our case of the charity, support us instantly. It was about building a relationship and actually being authentic and giving a shit about the people who were posting and bothering to post. So I think that's probably the important thing for everyone to remember about social media, is that it's there to communicate, but you've still got to build relationships the way you always did. You can't ring someone up and tell them to buy your thing immediately and expect them to do it, because they're just not going to. So that's important. There's a bunch of platforms. Everyone will have heard about them. The only thing I'll say about the platforms is that you've got to find the platform where people are that you want to do business with and where their attention is. So LinkedIn's an interesting one from an insurance point of view, because lots of people are on LinkedIn but they don't regularly use LinkedIn. You can go on there and find, as an example for me, you can go on there and find the chief exec of a big US based insurance broker, but he probably doesn't use his LinkedIn. He hasn't updated it in a long time. Maybe he checks the feed every now and again, but actually as a tool to build a relationship, it's not always the best, although I have a lot of success on there because there is a lot of people that regularly use their LinkedIn and it's growing, so keep your eye on it. But the other stuff's important too. Is Facebook useful for you? Is Instagram? Is Twitter? Is there anything else that you can do? where else are other people spending their time? The one I always ask people about, the one network that everyone forgets, and when I say it you'll be surprised, is YouTube. It's not a social network, although you can share videos with your friends now. It's a relatively new thing, but YouTube is a search engine, and I think, if the statistics were right that I read recently, it's the second biggest search engine in the world, after Google, and it's owned by Google. So there's a lot of search going on YouTube, a lot of self-teaching, circling back to what I said earlier on. YouTube is important. It's a great place for you to get on video. If you think you come across better as a human being face to face with people than you do in text, like an email or like any other communication, posting, whatever, or writing a blog, YouTube is for you. Similar to me, I think I come across better like this than I do in text format, so that's a nice easy way of, or an easier way of getting your point across and getting heard and getting attention without playing to your weaknesses, because that's the established distribution. I don't know how long we've been going now, coming up 10 minutes. I'm going to give you a couple of strategies, and then I'll probably leave it there. If anyone's got any comments, they can post them in the comments afterwards, or send me an email at well, you can send it through the Facebook page. I think the tactics that I'd probably point to people is it's a really loud plane. The tactics that I'd point to people are, first of all, you've got to be authentic. Second of all, you've got to be using it regularly. You can't dip in and dip out of social media. If you really, really want to make something of it, you've got to get in. I think that plane's coming back. If you want to make something of it, you've really got to get in there every day. Find your customers, know your product, create content for them. But what you need to do is create value. That's the biggest. Biggest strategy. How you do it is tough, but it's just important. If you're not creating value, they're not going to really care. You can get their attention. I can get your attention. I posted a picture of an engineer, the emoji, about 6 months ago, and got something like 1,000 views on that on LinkedIn. It didn't mean anything to anyone. There was no purpose for me doing it. You can get anyone's attention, but when they choose to click and read about your content, the technical stuff that you can offer, you've really got to wow them and impress them and know your stuff. Think about how you can create exclusivity in your content as well, so that your customers or main potential customers can access even more of you behind the scenes, and get them slightly closer to your brand, and think about how that impacts your business, and how you can use it. And I think just weigh it up against the cost of your other marketing. Some advertising is really important. Cold calling isn't, I don't think. I just don't see the return on cold calling. So if you're going to do it, I think you've got to weigh it up against this, both in terms of time and cost. Remember that this is all free. You don't have to do paid ads. I did a lot of what I've done without paid ads. And the time cost, the time cost might be the same in having someone permanently doing engagement and creating content and posting it and managing all these social platforms. That time cost, the amount of hours needed in a day or a week or a month or a year, might be the same as your cold caller that rings 100,000 businesses a year, and gets like a 1% return on that, if he's lucky. This has a better return on time. It just does. You'll build more relationships. I'm going to finish off with something that I posted up earlier on, which was a piece of recycled content that I'd made quite a while ago. Just because I don't want everyone to get the impression that social media is the future. Nothing else is ever going to work now because everyone's digital and got a phone in their pocket. The best way of getting business as an insurance broker is getting referrals. If you have a customer you've done such a good job for that he tells 9 of his friends that you're the best insurance broker in the world and that they should move their business to you immediately, That is the best sales tool in the world. But unless you have that, you need to find another way of doing outbound, and that's what I'm getting at when I say insurance is an outbound industry, because not everyone has those. Not everyone builds those business networks. I know there's BNI and all those kinds of things, but they don't always work. Or they don't work the way you expect them to, or your local one might be full of really small businesses and you target medium-sized enterprises. It doesn't always fit. But what you'll find is with social media, you can make relationships with people you don't know, or maybe aren't even in your area, but refer your business because you're strong, your content's good, you look good, you talk about the right kinds of things, you can give good advice, you're always willing to help people for free. All those things that you do as a human or in any other relationship interaction anywhere else in the world, whether it was offline or online, you can do all of that, and you might start winning referrals because of that. And you might get that through social media. That's how you're going to extend your reach. So please don't tell me that I'm saying that social media is the future and that everyone else is dead. I'm saying that if you don't embrace what's going on with digital technology and the new ways of communicating and building those relationships, you are going to be the last guy at BNI. And then what? Then what happens? I've focused a lot on insurance brokers here, but I've got a big thing for specialist MGAs as well. Maybe that'll have to come in a separate piece of content, because I think they're probably worse offenders than the insurance brokers a lot of the time. And I focused a lot on sales, but sales is only the tip of the iceberg. Do you know how easily you can service and maintain and grow relationships with your existing customers through social media? It's bizarre. We do it in the underwriting agency. We have a very, very good way of keeping in touch with our existing brokers and growing that community, bringing them value all the time, once a month. I'm adamant that they see us more than they see our competitors, and we don't travel and they do. We've made investment and effort in that, and it's a time investment, not a monetary investment in real terms, on balance, and that just helps us maintain strong relationships with the businesses that we want to stay close to and that we want more opportunities from. So it works. Believe me, it works. If you want proof that it works, I'll give you some numbers and then I'm going to leave. We did from 0 in March last year, 0 brokers, to 70 by the end of the 31st of December, sorry. And we spent £400 on travel, entertaining and marketing. How much did you spend on travel and entertaining and marketing? Questions in the comments.